Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G. We are here this week with Elena of Spiro Stretch. She is the founder, creator, trade master. She's the lady of stretch. Let's just put it that way. We were doing some stretches before we sat down. I feel I've got some energy. Let's just say that. I got some good stretches in. I'm super excited to hear her story, how she got started, and basically everything that's occurred up until now when she's sitting in the chair. And before we get to that, though, I want to give a big, wonderful shout out and thank you to the amazing folks that make the Patty G Show possible each and every week. Building 5, Falaya Real Estate, Lakeman's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you know the fit of the day is always brought to you by McLavy Limited. Without further ado, Elena, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Patty G. I'm honored and happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you on. I'm excited to learn about Spiro and how in the heck we got here. So we keep saying this phrase, Spiro. You've got it on your shirt. You got something in your hand.
Yes.
But for those that may not be aware, who are you and what the heck do you do?
Hi. Well, my name is Elena Keegan, and I am the founder and creator of the Spiro Stretch Tool. And this stretch tool is a really great solution for people who need relief from stiff muscles and joints and body pains, or who simply just want to maintain their flexibility and their well-being at any age in life, and especially as we get older. A lot of people are concerned with their mobility and their flexibility, and so this is a really great tool for that.
So, I mean, how did we get here? Like, how in the world are we sitting here with this device that you've created? We've got some originals we're going to look at in a little bit, but how did we get here? Like, what led you to this?
Okay, so in 1995, I went off to an ashram in Virginia to get my yoga certification, an ashram, where the yogis, where they have the yogis. And actually, let me back up a little bit. Let me go back to 1991.
Okay.
When my father died. My father was a physician, and he was very committed to his patients and his family, and he didn't take care of himself. And even though as a physician he understood that self-care was important, he didn't make the time for self-care himself. So he had his first heart attack when he was 35, and he went on to have heart disease and eventually developed diabetes. And when he was 51, he died from a heart attack. Wow. And 8 days later, my older brother, who also had diabetes, died from a heart attack.
Goodness.
8 days apart. This freaked me out, and I was like, oh my goodness. I looked at my family history, and I was like, everybody's got heart disease and diabetes. My grandfather had lost part of his leg. All of them died from cardiac events. I said, oh my gosh, I've got to understand how to take better care of my body because my genetic history doesn't look good. So I started research. I was a teacher at the time. I'd graduated from LSU. I had plenty of stress being a teacher. And so I started doing research, and what I found was that if stress didn't cause a disease, it made it worse. And so it was all about stress. I started seeing back in the 90s that stress was the cause of most diseases. And then when I researched what was the best antidote for stress, it was all yoga-based techniques. So I was like, okay, let me go train and learn more about yoga. So for 2 summers, I trained and got my advanced certification from Integral Yoga in Virginia. And I came back, and I was teaching at Episcopal at the time. Okay. And I told Father Hancock, the headmaster at the time, I said, look, I want to teach a yoga class here for these students. He said, let me think about that. And he said, we're not going to call it yoga. We're going to call it stress management. I said, okay. So that's what I did. I got home on a Sunday from my training, and on Monday I started teaching 2 classes a day through PE. So anyway, I've been teaching yoga in all different kinds of settings for 28 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. And so I got married, and I had children, and I wanted to stay home with my children. So what I did was I started Baton Rouge Yoga Company.
Okay.
Which offers, and I still have it.
So we have a double header here. We have 2 companies we're going to be talking about.
We have 2 companies we're going to be talking about. And so I started teaching yoga at Blue Cross Blue Shield, at Lamar Advertising. We got classes going at State Farm, Apple Guerin Accounting, all kinds of wonderful businesses here in town. Right now we're teaching at IBM to do on-site classes.
Okay, so you were specializing in corporate on-site yoga
just
courses.
Corporate.
Okay.
Just corporate, because that allowed me to just go teach a class while my children were napping, and then I'd come back. And it was really fabulous. It's really a great model for keeping a mom healthy and happy. And so I've been doing that for a long time, growing that business. I had 3 teachers working for me at one point, and then the pandemic hit. And all that shut down, no business. And I was seeing everybody at home just rotting, right? No one was moving. No one was eating very well. It was a problem. And I thought, I really want to create something that people can use at home to stretch and take better care of their body. So I started, I got into gear with, you want to see the prototypes?
Let's see them.
So actually I did start designing this, I'd say in like 2019. I was teaching at Lamar Advertising on corporate. And I made these prototypes out of garden kneelers, and I covered them in duct tape. And man, we thought that we were something else. It was what it does is it connects your hand to your foot so that people can reach. So people feel like, I want to do yoga. Everyone says to me, I want to do yoga, but I'm not flexible.
Right.
Or I want to do yoga and I don't have time. So anyway, the whole flexibility thing, I wanted people to feel more capable in their yoga class. So I thought this would be great to make the connection, and it just helped. It just helps in forward bending poses, other poses, and we used it a lot, and we thought it was great. But during the pandemic is when I got into gear. I have this fabulous brother-in-law and sister-in-law that helped me. My sister-in-law is a contract attorney, and so as I would approach people to make some prototypes for me, I would send them out a non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
And so I started doing that, and
Where were you finding these people?
Okay, so good question. So I had this material that I wanted to use. Do you know those pool floats that have vinyl paint?
Pool floats that have vinyl paint.
They're those little rafts that are just one big piece of foam, but it floats. It's also what the Coast Guard makes their life jackets out of. Those orange.
Oh, you're talking like the lifeguard floats that they wear around there. Like they have the little strap and it's got like guard on the front of it.
Foamy, and they have paint.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
I reached out to the company that makes those.
Okay.
And they sent me some prototypes, but they were way too flimsy and stretchy. So those didn't work.
Yeah.
So I was in Walmart one day and I found a Gel Pro floor mat. I took it home. Okay. I cut it up. I glued it together and I was like, oh, this is what I need, right? Okay. And so I did some research on Gel Pro, who's in Austin. They were in Austin at the time. And I researched and I found it was a husband and wife team. So I called the wife. I just looked him up. I called the wife.
Well, so what year is this for?
This is 2020.
2020. Gotcha. Okay.
2020, the beginning of, actually it was in the end of 2019. That's right.
Okay, so before COVID kind of made its way to Louisiana.
I was looking at making some prototypes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? Yes. And so I called them and they were so kind and willing to help me. They gave me about an hour and a half on Zoom.
That's incredible.
And both of them. And the husband was super supportive of entrepreneurs. He's an entrepreneur himself and really believes in that. And he said, I can send you some prototypes, but I'm not going to be able to be the one to make this for you, because he informed me that I needed a non-porous foam, and his mats were made out of this foam that has pores in it. He said, you're going to want to use your stretching product in physical therapy, and you can't have something that absorbs water or germs. So you're going to need a non-porous foam. He said that would be EVA foam. He said, I have a friend in Oregon that I can refer you to. And so I called him. He gave me a tour of their plant over Zoom. And he told me that I was going to have a mold made, and that the experts in making the mold were in Taiwan.
Okay.
So he connected me with someone in Taiwan to make a mold. They said, send me a CAD file of your design. I had to have everyone along the way sign the NDA.
Right.
And he said, send me a CAD file. I was like, a what file? He said, a CAD file. I was like, okay, gotcha. I called my friend Shauna, who's a designer, and I was like, do you know how to use CAD file? And she's like, a little bit. So I sketched the drawing and sent it to her, and she sent back a file that I was able to send to the people in Taiwan. They said, got it. And then they sent me this prototype, which is a 3D printer prototype that's hard.
I was gonna say, this looks like plastic.
Yes, it looks like plastic. They're telling me this is what it's going to look like. You want to make sure this is what you want. It's going to be EVA foam, but make sure that this is what you want. And as you can see, it says stretcher because at first I was going to call it a stretcher.
Right, but then immediately in my mind, I'm thinking of like ambulance stretcher.
Right,
I'm not thinking of actually stretching. It's more of a bad thing if somebody says, "Oh, let me go grab the stretcher." You're like, "Wait, what happened?"
Correct.
Okay.
But I was like, I just imagine people in a yoga class or at a gym saying, "Grab the stretcher, let's stretch," So anyhow, so at the 11th hour, they said, "Are you good to go?" And I said, "Wait, I want something that has a better grip on the mat and something that people can use as kind of like leverage, almost like a ladder to make their way into the stretch." So more grip, also for reflexology, also for massaging, and there was lots of different things. So at the last minute, I sent them, we were on Zoom, I was like, "Can you add some bumps that, give it a little bit more thickness and lift?" And they said yes. And so that's what we did. And it only took about maybe 2 months.
Okay.
Maybe not even that long. And they sent me my first 20 Spiros. And then, so I played with those a little bit. I used them in class, and I started trying to decide exactly where I was going to try to market these. And then I went ahead and placed a big order. So the mold was shipped to Oregon. I wanted to make it in the U.S. I was very committed to having a product made in the U.S. for many reasons. And so the first shipment came in July of 2021.
Okay.
So that's how long it took from end of 2019 to July 2021.
Got it.
And so in June of 2021, I did a pre-order, like a little launch. Athleta, the Athleta store here in town, was kind enough to let me do a launch event there. And I took pre-orders. I did a big thing on Facebook, and we sold half of them before they even came in. It was really great. Yes,
that's very good.
Yeah, we're doing
great. Half the product coming in is already sold. That's only thing that could be better is if they were all sold before they came in.
Right. And so it's just been a journey of trying to find the right markets and channels of distribution. That's probably my biggest challenge is increasing my channels of distribution.
Right.
So that's kind of how it got started. And when, I told you at first we were using these, when this came in and it provided this stretch that it's really hard to see on camera, but the resistance that this provides it feels amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't feel, so whenever I was doing the stretches beforehand and like really pulling on this stuff, it doesn't feel like it's going to tear. It also doesn't feel like it's going to have like a bunch of dry rot or really cause an issue with wear and tear over time. It genuinely feels like it's very strong and secure, which gives you confidence in doing the stretch as you're going. You're not feeling like it's going to snap and your knee's going to pop back in your face at any certain point in time.
Just like stretch bands.
Right, like stretch bands where they fall off they slip off your foot and it just smacks you in the face. I've been there one too many times. It's not a pleasant experience. And so having this, the foothole, I call it, is plenty wide enough. Now, when you were designing this, what were you using for measurements? How were you determining how big it is? Did you call Shaq? Can his foot fit in here?
Right.
Like, what were the parameters creating this that you kind of had to take into account?
Okay, so I would like for athletes that have shoes on, I would like to make a bigger model, and I do have designs for different sizes.
Okay.
But for the general public, which is where, I'm really trying to reach people that are not taking care of their bodies and they don't have a plan, they don't have a guide, and this is just so easy. So I went with that population, and I started out with this opening and this, and I thought it was just going to be like this, but then all of a sudden it occurred to me that if you put both feet in, you can do core work, you can do double leg hamstring stretches. And so Shaq could fit in here without his shoes on.
Okay.
If he had his shoes on, he could probably get his toe in there. But athletes, I have had many athletes use it with their shoes on, but it's not as easy. It's much easier if you just kick your shoes off and any foot's going to fit in there.
Yeah, and you have plenty of room. It's not like it's, it is a one size fits all. Truly,
it's
not too small for your feet or anything like that.
Kids, any age. This is perfect for any age.
Yeah. So going through the motions and getting the mold made and everything, that is not a cheap process. I mean, was this bootstrapped? Was it, did you raise
100%.
funding? I mean, walk us through, did you budget for this? Like, how is that, what was that startup mentality like when you're going through and they're saying like it's going to be, because I know molds aren't cheap to make.
They're not. So I had some money saved, and I didn't do this before because I was afraid of like not having the money, and I didn't know what to do. But I remembered my dad telling me a few things. One of the things he told me is, don't look at the whole staircase. Just take one step. It's a Martin Luther King quote.
Right.
Just take one step at a time. So that was kind of my mantra. Just one step at a time. Just what's the one next step that's going to head you in that direction? And then also, I basically just did it piece parts. I haven't taken out any loans.
That's awesome.
And so it's kind of, part of me is like, if I did take out a much bigger loan, I could probably grow a lot faster. So there's a double-edged sword there. Yes, I don't have any debt, but I'm also not growing as fast as I'd like to.
Yeah, and it's, if this was your all-encompassing, just pure devotion, you would start exploring some of those other avenues. Yeah. But because you've got the yoga business that I'm hoping is kind of getting back under fire with the fact that people are back in the office. Now people have gone from being home-based to being back in the office. So adding little extras for incentives for people to come in is kind of important. So I'm sure it's starting to pick back up a little bit.
Absolutely. Like we're teaching at IBM and other places, and they're like, yoga day is the best day. It's just, there's just no way you can argue that taking some time during the day to stretch and breathe and relax feels so good. And you know that you're taking care of yourself. Relaxation is the holy grail of well-being. Like the body needs to be relaxed in order for it to stay in balance and to heal itself. But because of this silent epidemic of stress, it's not so silent anymore. I was telling you that the World Health Organization has declared stress a silent epidemic that is costing the world billions and billions of dollars. And, if you think about, can you buy anything to manage stress?
I mean, it depends on who you ask. Some people will call some self-medication, helping them out for stress. There's many stress avenues that people can get a quick fix, but nothing. I mean, you can do different things, and I'm no expert on stress or mental health, but I'm sure there is not as many options as there are. If you cut your hand, you can put some stitches in a Band-Aid. You can tangibly fix that, but it's like stress is one of those other components that is tough to fix without having some recharge, some rest, etc.
Exactly. And stretching has been shown to give you the same benefits as exercise. So I really wanted to find something that someone could do for themselves at home, like it was during the pandemic. That's kind of like DIY self-care. Right. I like to say you can't have a healthcare system without a self-care system. And this is pretty much a little self-care system all in itself. Because when you combine stretching with breathing, with conscious breathing, it becomes a system for cleansing the body, resetting the body, relaxing the body, strengthening. The joints feel better. There's a decrease in pain. I mean, there's just so much research and so much that stretching and breathing can do for you that we're not taking advantage of. It's a lot more simple than people realize.
Right. It's not, having to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym every day. It's when you get up out of bed or right before you go to bed, just getting some little stretches in, like you were saying beforehand, those endorphins that are released. It calms yourself and helps you kind of decompress.
Exactly. I also like to say that when there is a pain in the body, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain, that's indicating that there is some type of block. And the best way to release that block of energy is through the breath. Our breath is the main machine behind cleaning the body, relaxing the body, healing the body. What our cells need most is oxygen. But because of stress and lack of awareness, we're not breathing. You could check your breathing right now. Anyone who's watching this or listening to this can check their breathing right now, and you're probably just breathing into your upper lungs.
Yeah.
The truth is that our lungs extend all the way down here. And I like to teach diaphragmatic breathing. It's a yoga We teach that a lot in yoga. It's not just yoga that does that. But the diaphragm is what is responsible for your breathing. People think it's the nose or your shoulders. It's not. Our diaphragm, as you inhale, goes down. As you exhale, it goes up. And this action of your diaphragm going up and down is what pulses the oxygen and the life force through the body. It also primes the body for digestion. It massages the nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system that induces relaxation. There are so many things that are connected to that diaphragmatic breathing that I like to tell people, make it your business. Go watch every YouTube video you can on proper diaphragmatic breathing. I called this product Spiro, which means breathing in Latin. Spiro means breathing in Latin because it's that important.
Right.
Restoring the flow of energy through your body, it's going to happen through your breath. I don't care what technique you use or what medicine you take or what any other way that you're trying to heal your body. If you're not engaging your breath, you're missing out on the vast resources that your body already has within itself to heal itself.
Yeah, it's just making sure you fully utilize it.
And that's it. We need to educate people. I mean, did any of us go to class and have, except for my students at Episcopal, have any instruction on proper breathing or the importance of breathing for your well-being?
Yeah, I mean, it was not widely pushed, at least,
Right.
It's not a wide topic of conversation unless you're in a specialty class like what you're describing at Episcopal, where you're able to actually take the time with the students and go over everything with it. It's not, focused.
It's not. And I have to say, throughout the country and the world, they are starting to have a lot of mindfulness breaks for children. They are using breathing. They are in some, not in Louisiana so much. Well, some schools are. There are some. But I'd like to see it everywhere. And I feel like Spiro is a really innovative solution to that because it's super easy and it feels amazing. So it's not like somebody's going to be like, we got to stretch again. It's going to be like, yes, we get to stretch because it feels that good.
Right. Well, like you're saying, it gives you the ability, without being as nimble and as flexible, to make the complete stretches, to really get in there and feel like you're actually having a stretch, as opposed to those folks where it's like, okay, time to stretch, and they kind of just
right.
put their hands down and that's it. It's like you're able to use this tool and really open things up and really just expand your joints and expand your movement without having to be some gymnastic expert that can stretch and do all these crazy different things.
Exactly. A lot of people feel intimidated to try yoga or Pilates because they feel they're not flexible, but that's not what it's about. It's about breathing. It is about moving and stretching the body and relaxing. And this is a really great prop to have in a yoga class. I teach a Spiro stretch class at Grace Yoga and Pilates on Highland on Wednesdays. And the Spiro class is 90% of the class is on the ground on your back. So I think that's inviting for people because they don't have to stand up and look a certain way in their pose or what have you. And it provides a tremendous amount of relief and relaxation. I mean, it really feels like you've taken something to relax after a class.
Yeah, I mean, you just have this freedom to open up in a way that you couldn't necessarily do by yourself.
Right. I don't think people realize how much stress they have to release until they actually do it. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, you always feel better after a stretch.
Yes.
With proper stretch. If you overstretch, you can have some issues, but with proper stretching, you always feel better. There's never a point in time whether you finish stretching, you're like, that was awful. I feel terrible. It's always, you're always uplifted. You're always, your breathing's expanded. You're just full of energy and ready to kind of continue tackling the day.
That is exactly right. Full of energy and a release of stress. And the stretch gurus say, I mean, you can stretch anytime, really, especially after working out is a nice time to stretch, and don't overstretch, right? Because your muscles kind of get like this when they're shortened and you're not moving. And then when you stretch, everything comes back into alignment the way it should be, especially if you do it slowly and consciously. But the stretch gurus say one of the best times to stretch is right before you go to sleep. And the reason for that is because you release tension, you put your body in a state for relaxation, for better sleep, and you lengthen the muscles and you go to sleep that way. So that increases your flexibility even more. But so a lot of times when people buy a Spiro, I put a handwritten note in there that says, use the Spiro anytime, but I recommend leaving it on your nightstand as kind of like a little Post-it note to remind you to stretch and do the little routine that's inside the
Yeah, you've got your little...
There is the routine is on the cover. See that black one over there?
Oh, okay.
That one. So inside that wrapper, I wanted a minimalist wrapping. I don't like too much packaging. Mm-hmm. So behind that label is a stretch routine. And so you just follow that. Once you've done it once or twice, you'll know how to do it. You don't need to look at that routine. There's also routines that you can follow along online on our website.
Okay, I was about to ask, is there any way that people can actually go and watch? Do you have a YouTube channel? There's a YouTube channel, and it's at Spiro Stretch. And as soon as you've done it a couple of times, you don't need it anymore. You know what to do, and your body will guide you. Right.
And I love hearing back from people about all the different ways that people have taught me ways to use it. The list of ways to use it is up to about 60 and growing. So
60, okay.
60 different poses or ways to use it.
So within something like this, there's always the potential for copycats, for knockoffs. What does that scene look like for Spiro? Are you dealing with a lot of it? Is it not quite at the forefront of people to kind of rip off? What is your experience with kind of the copycats, if there are any? Okay,
so far no copycats. Okay, and I want to keep it that way. I have avoided trying to get because I've heard I've avoided getting on Amazon for lots of reasons, but one of them is copycats. And then my goal is to create a culture, a following of people who are into self-care and wellness and fitness. And we were talking about doing some live weekly stretches that people can follow along. So my plan is to create a following, and the Spiro, I do have it patented.
Okay, I was about to ask, is it patented?
Yes, I have a design patent that I just got this year that just came through at the beginning of the year.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I put it in motion in 2020.
Okay.
So 3 years
is still pretty. That's pretty quick.
That was expensive too.
Yeah, patents are not cheap.
So every time I sell, I'm on my third shipment. So every time I sell that whole shipment, that's the money that I use to invest in paying for the lawyer and for. I mean, I see now why people don't go into business. There is so much that goes into having a business, especially a product. So my Baton Rouge yoga company, I was just doing a service, so I didn't have to pay sales tax. That was very simple. My teachers were contract teachers, so I didn't have to pay employment tax, except my own self-employment tax. So that was very simple. I could manage that myself. This, I've got to pay sales tax and state tax and this tax and that tax. And it's a lot.
Yeah, and then you have to make sure if you're selling strictly on your website, you have to make sure that you have the proper tax tables established to charge proper sales tax,
Correct.
To charge proper shipping, because if not, it's going to fall on you.
Exactly.
And for the most part, the margins aren't significant. They're not significantly available to cover all those costs. So you have to make sure that it's set up on the front end to charge the sales tax and pay all that, because there is a cost of doing business.
Cost of doing business.
Yeah, and it gets expensive, especially with product-based businesses.
Exactly. I mean, every app or extension that you want to use on your website, it's another fee. Canva, and whether it's Stripe or whatever different extensions that we're using to conduct business. I started off on all the free models for MailChimp and all that. So yeah, I'm learning about all that, and I have been super lucky to have people out of the goodness of their heart help me, because they believe in the product. And I had these three men from Trilogy help me organize myself to, one, make a pitch on the big product
QVC?
shopping. Yeah, QVC. Thank you.
Okay.
I got accepted, and I got to pitch in front of the judges. And they didn't select me, which is okay. But in the process, I got my website ready. I got everything ready.
Yeah, it kind of forced all the back end of everything.
Yes. And like I said, Athleta helped me. Grace Yoga has been amazing. Trifecta Sports Therapy, who's been on the show, have been a really great proponent and supporter of Spiro. They love it. It helps their massage therapists, and the physical therapy that they do with their athletes has been very effective. They really like it.
Yeah. So going through the patent process, Walk us through that experience, because that is something that product-based entrepreneurs with their business are going to have to explore at some point or another. So what was your experience going through the patent process?
So at first, my attorney said that I wasn't going to be able to patent this because there were too many other things. There was nothing exactly like this, but there was already a stretching product. Funny enough, it was the bumps on the back that allowed me to get a design patent. So basically, I had to submit that same CAD file and the drawings that I did. I also got a trademark for Spiro, but so I basically just filled out the paperwork. The attorney did all of it. I was going to try to DIY that too, but I didn't.
And that's one of those things you don't want to mess up.
Exactly.
Because you could put something flat surface and leave off the bumps, or the location of the bumps you could not include in the language, and then somebody says, "Oh, well, we have one bump that's different than yours,
right?
Therefore, we're a totally unique product." Right.
Well, they're not that easy to get around, but yes, like a marketing, people can just do it, and that was. I also had to figure out, am I going to do an international one?
Yeah.
And then I thought, no, because I'm not going to be going anywhere policing, and even if
and there's a cost to that too. There's a cost of policing your patent.
An annual cost.
It's insane. The legal
insane.
Fees that you can rake up just from defending something you invented.
Correct. So I knew I wasn't going to do that, so I didn't go down that path. And really my plan is to become the brand for this and the education. I'm working on some paid education where people can be able to, subscribe and get videos or specific ones for all these different populations, because Spiro can help. So people, so I also worked with the Innovation Park at LSU out there off of Gardere.
Yep.
And they were like, "Okay, who's your audience?" And I'm like, "Everyone." They're like, "No,
yeah, you got to tailor it in a little bit more."
Right. And so with them, I zeroed in on athletic training, because I feel like if I could get athletes using it, our country, people follow what athletes do. The movie stars, the rock stars, and the athletes. Whatever they're doing, everybody else wants to do it. So I'm waiting for that big break to get Shaquille O'Neal or Joe Burrow to start using it, because I think they would love it. I would love to send one to them if I thought they could. I was
about to say, are you like DMing them? Are you reaching out to them yet?
I haven't.
You just got to get on Instagram.
But if anybody knows a connection, I would love to send Joe Spiro a whole case of these so he and his colleagues and players can use them. I would love that. I was over at Trifecta. Anna told me that Coach Kelly bought one, and I am dying to get with him and give him a private session on showing him all the different ways to do it. I haven't reached out because, I'm sure everybody's reaching out to him about something or other, but I'm hoping that connection is going to be made. I do have some sports teams at LSU using them, mainly the women, the softball, golf, basketball, and the soccer team.
Okay.
Right? Volleyball. They bought some. And also Stretch Lab. Are you familiar with Stretch Lab?
I've heard of Stretch Lab. Yeah, they're right in the town center, aren't
yes.
they? Okay, yeah.
Okay, so they have about 100 Stretch Labs throughout the nation, and they carry Spiro.
Okay.
So that's really great.
That's exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting. So that's great. And I get to travel around and show different Stretch Labs how to use it. And that's when I find they sell. Like, there are some Stretch Labs where they're not selling that great. I go in and I show the flexologists how to use it. And then all of a sudden they're like, "We need another box," because they use it.
It's a very demonstratable product.
Yes.
Like, you have to, because if I'm just holding this, I don't know what the purpose of these little bumps are for. I don't know why these are here. Like, it doesn't. You got the guide, yes. You've got the videos to watch, yes. But people just, especially in that environment, they like to be coached. They like to be shown what to do. And if they're there and you walk them through it and they can physically have a good experience, there's so much more willing to buy.
Exactly.
Instead of just watching this video of this influencer using it, because if they do that, most of the time they're just going to buy it and stick it in their closet. It's like whenever they get to use it for the first time, doing on-hand session trainings, bringing them out, having people like look at them, feel them, walk them through some stretches, that I feel like is where the sales are going to be. And then like everything else is just lagniappe at that point.
It's true. And so I need to train more people because I'm only one person.
Right.
Because my buy and try rate is pretty high. For example, I taught a workshop at Women's Wellness Center here in Baton Rouge, and we had 17 women, and I sold 24 Spiros.
Okay.
So some people didn't buy any, some people bought several. So it is. Once someone stretches with it, they feel like, oh gosh, and everybody knows they need to stretch. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's like there are so many reasons that we need to stretch. And the experience with my father not taking care of himself was really my inspiration to provide something that people could do in just 5 minutes a day. Of course, 10 minutes is better, 15 minutes is even better, but 5 minutes a day is going to provide some results. And so that's it, getting people to try it and just,
Yeah.
But I've got to figure out a way to do this on video because I see this as a nationwide, if not global solution. I know that sounds pretty lofty, but at the same time, if we're not taking care of ourselves, like nothing else matters. Every guest on your show, every endeavor that we have, none of that matters if we're sick or if we feel bad. Life is not worth living if you feel bad. I mean, of course, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like our greatest wealth is our health, as Ben Franklin said. And we can give ourselves 5 minutes a day. I feel like it's a duty. Like I keep myself well so that my children don't have to. Really, like I know I can't control that, but there's some part of me that feels like I don't want my children to have to experience what I went through watching my father get worse and worse and worse and then died at the very end. It was heart-wrenching to see your dad barely being able to breathe sometimes. And so I feel like self-care is a duty. It's our responsibility and no one can do it for us.
Yeah.
And don't wait for a crisis. And people tell me all the time, I don't have time or I don't make time. Well, if you can't give yourself 5 minutes, then something's off balance.
Yeah, I mean, you can even do it if you're come home and want to relax and turn the TV on. You can do it during a commercial break.
Oh, you can do it while you're my nieces.
Or like while you're watching TV. Like because you can do it on your back. So you can like lay down on the ground. You can watch whatever you're watching and do some stretching while you're consuming that. It's like to me, your target demographic is the busy people, right?
Yes.
The folks that aren't going to the gym,
yes.
The folks that don't have time. They say they don't have time to go to the gym, and those that are in the office all day, you can tell them, get two, keep one at your desk and one at your house.
Yes.
And, block out 5 minutes a day to do your stretches. If you get up to go to the bathroom, when you get back to your desk, do one leg. And you get up to go to the bathroom again when you get back to the other leg. Like there's other ways you can make it happen. It's just a matter of educating people of the importance of that self-care and of that stretching. Exactly.
And you just made me think of something, and now I lost it. But self-care, stack your habits.
Yeah.
Stack your habits. Like everyone knows that flossing your teeth is important to avoid cavities.
Yeah.
Right? I know not everyone
many people
does
it.
I know, but like once you realize why you're getting cavities, but I like to say that Spiro stretching is to your mind and body what dental floss or brushing your teeth is to your teeth.
Yeah.
Like it literally flosses your whole body. You get your energy flowing again. We are energetic beings. We're just energy, right? And like I said, when you don't feel good, that means there's a block somewhere. Pain is your body saying, I'm not getting oxygen over here. You need to move this and get some flow back in here because it's the body that heals itself. Right? When we break a bone, it's not the doctor that heals it. It's not the cast that heals it. The body heals itself, but it can't do its job if you don't relax and if you don't have enough water in your body and minerals and all that too. But those two things are vital and simple. If we're not, so 5 minutes a day, people, 5 minutes a day.
Yeah. So what is your social media strategy then? Getting the product out there.
So I was working on, Instagram and Facebook and things like that. When I post is when I make some sales, but I'm not the best at that. And so I've got my precious niece, Abby Flowback, who's really a little marketing genius. And she has taught me that I really need to get with the email. Like, I've learned too that we've got to do a drip campaign where your email keeps coming through, and until that person realizes, they keep seeing Spiro as an I only want to do once a month because I don't like spam. But so she's helping me work on an email campaign where we're going to release a video every month. And so it's I haven't been great on social media. I probably need to hire some influencers. Like
I was about to say, you just got to start DMing a bunch of micro and nano influencers.
Yeah.
Those folks that have anything from 1,000 to 15,000, that's going to be your sweet spot. And just sending them messages on Instagram, hey, can I send you my product and a link to the video on how to use it? You know, something that simple. You just do 100 a day or something, and you're eventually going to get 1, 2, 3, 5 people. And then you kind of start building that momentum after that. But I mean, if I'm you, I'm sending people messages all day and then talking to the folks on TikTok as well. It's like,
I know.
You've got good followers that are doing yoga, they're doing stretches already. Say, I want to send you this. Can you just incorporate it? And like, here's a swag bag of Spiro stuff.
I would love
here's
it.
A shirt. Here's the actual Spiro itself. Here's a hat. Here's just all branded items for you to wear, and just kind of do it once or twice,
Right.
And then some will have you pay them. Some will do it for free with the stuff. It's just a matter of who you can find and what their audience is after as well.
Right. I tried to do a share sale. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, like use this code and get recognition, and then they get a commission off of how many sales. Yeah, that works. That can be effective.
I didn't get that. I've sent out. I did try it. I didn't do 100 a day, but I did try that, and then I just didn't. And then I get so many of those on my Spiro Stretch account that I feel like that's probably what they think I am. They're like, oh, we've got vitamins and supplements. We'd like for you to be a blah 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 blah. I just delete all that because I'm not interested in that. So anyway, I will revisit that.
You should start sending them. You guys get their emails because they always have contact here, and you send them their emails, and you just got to be. You got to find the ones that use the hashtags you use, right?
Right.
So if you have a certain hashtag, it's hashtag stretch, hashtag breathing, hashtag relaxation. Those are the 3 hashtags. If I'm you, I'm dialing in and finding all the videos on those and reaching out to those folks.
That's a good idea.
So those that are within your area that you're already looking in and you're trying to get attention and eyeballs from, if they're there and they're posting and they have significant engagement, that's your, like, anybody below 15,000 is going to be willing to work with you. Okay. Anybody above 15,000 is going to want to check and willing to work with you. So it's like, where's your budget for this?
Right. Well, I don't have a budget for that, but I think they're out there. I need to put more effort into that. Yes, I've been working on all my endeavors that are all in the vein of wellness. So you asked me if I was doing this full time, and I was like, no, but I can't wait until I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of that model of using your time to send those 100 messages a day, because that's ultimately what it takes, right? You can't send 10 a day, then you're only at 50 in a week if you're only working Monday through Friday, and 50 if you get, a 0.1% rate of people that are going to open it and actually respond to you. You've got maybe one person that week.
Right.
And it all depends on what your level of persistence and your willingness to type through a bunch of messages and make it personal each time. It's easy to copy and paste it, and those are the spammy ones.
Right.
Those are the ones you just delete right away. But being able to personalize it and get it down to, hey, I saw you posted the other day that you had a hamstring injury. This product
good idea
is a great tool to help with that. If you find an athlete that just got injured and they're posting about it, that's your way to connect with them and say, oh my gosh, this is going to help. Can I please, and make it like, please, I just want to send this to you. Please let me send it to you.
Yeah. Something
of that nature, where it's not so, I've got the solution for you.
Right.
It's more, please, this will help you. Let me send it and ask, let them experience it and be like, wow, now I want to sell this organically, not because they're getting paid for it.
Or just promote it, right.
Or just promote it. And, they could even do a live or something like that of them using the Spiro and tagging you in it, or doing a shared live would also be beneficial. Going live with athletes.
And show them how to do it.
And then y'all are working on it together. So if you've already got athletes using it at LSU, utilize them.
I know. I have a few pictures, and but now with the NIL deal, they want a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I don't have that budget yet, but you never know. I mean, I've gotten so lucky. Like, so with people helping me, like varsity sports too, they let me do
Jenny
some of their.
Peters is phenomenal.
She's the best. She and Jane, and they let me. I've done a few running events, like when they do their runners, they let me come stretch
Absolutely.
them. They usually buy some. They now carry it in the varsity sports. So that's really great. Yeah, I'm going to do more of that and see where I'll let you know, Patty G, how I
look. It's an idea,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea. I've thought of it. I just haven't done it
because it's very much a visible product. You've got to see this in action. You've got to see it working
and feel it
and feel it. Put your hands on it. It's not something that you can just see an ad for,
right,
and want to buy it, right?
Right.
You've got to actually. That's why I mean, QVC would have been amazing if y'all were to get on there, because you do have the chance to display it. You have the chance to talk about it and really dive into the science behind what the little lumps are on the back of it for.
Right.
I didn't know that until you said it's to gradually work your way through the
like
stretch. It's like a ladder. I mean, I see it now. I'm like, it makes complete sense to me. Before, I'm like, it's just a bunch of random dots. What's the purpose of it?
And then you can stand on it with your feet and massage the fascia in your feet too. So it's kind of like reflexology.
Okay.
And then it provides a massage. Like if you bring this on the airplane, which a lot of people do, and you rub your back on it. Are you leaning on one?
I don't.
If you go like this on that, it massages your back. It's really nice.
Sure.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's really great, and it adds a little extra lift. You can also double this up, so a lot of people can't sit in a cross-legged position anymore. Mm-hmm. So if you double it up, it becomes a nice thick cushion that you could use in a class, or like you can use it like this on the bleachers. But it also becomes a bolster. I've had physical therapists say that putting this behind your back, behind your heart, like this, is a very non-aggressive bolster, like for people who've had open heart surgery or surgery on their chest. Or people who just need to relax. If you just lay on top of this, it opens your chest. It makes it easier to breathe. So there's so many things to do. You can kneel on it. Lots of people use it to kneel, to do home projects, or in a yoga class if they've got bad knees. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's lots of different ways.
There's a lot of uses, and it's almost as if you need to be like going into every single PT facility in Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas and showing them what you got.
Yes. Now every time I do, they love it and using it. I'm working with a group that's got, I don't know how many physical therapy offices they have, but they're going to start incorporating it with their physical therapists. So yeah, I'd really love if I could get them to start carrying it, because they have the PT shops where you buy stretch straps and things like that, and I have across the board people tell me all the time the stretch strap is just too cumbersome. It's very useful, there's no doubt about that, but it doesn't provide as much resistance, and it's hard for some people to use, especially people with arthritis or nerve issues. You don't even have to grab it. You can go like this and use it to do your stretching in a standing position, or sitting, or laying, reclining in your bed or the couch. You were talking about you can do it while you're watching TV.
Yeah.
You remember during the pandemic and everyone was binging on Netflix, and so my nieces were sending me pictures of themselves stretching while they said we're hinging and binging.
Hinging and binging. That's pretty good.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things, like when we keep kind of pounding it, but it's like for 5 minutes a day, the physical benefit you're going to have. And we're not, not saying it's necessarily a weight loss tool here, but it's something that's going to give you some energy and give you that flexibility, that momentum, that movement that you didn't have beforehand where you're not stretching, you know? And it's focusing on that breathing and really centering yourself is going to do way more for you than you realize.
Absolutely. The Arthritis Foundation says moving your joints in their normal range of motion 5 minutes a day is more effective than just one class a week. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a lot of people do yoga, chair yoga, Pilates, and all that. So 5 minutes a day, one. And two, it's funny that you mentioned weight loss, because people wonder if yoga and things like that are good for weight loss. The truth is that, think about it, when someone loses weight, where does the fat go? Like, how does it leave the body? Mm-hmm. It leaves through respiration. 70% of the toxins and the fat in the body leave the body through respiration, which there's no mistake that when you're stressed, you gain weight. and other things too. So even though I wouldn't tout it as a weight loss program, actually, if you start doing regular breathing exercises, you're going to help your body process the fat that is stored in your body. Of course, you have to combine that with other exercise and a proper diet, but at least you're helping cleanse your body. I say not diaphragmatically breathing is like not cleaning the lint screen in your dryer.
Yeah.
It's like that is how the lungs are the cleansing mechanism for the body. People think it's through sweat or the bathroom, but the vast majority of the fat and the toxins in our body leave through the lungs. Oxygen comes in, it gets circulated through the body with the heart and the lungs, grabs all the toxins, carbon, and it leaves as CO2. So that's how that works. But we're only using this little bit up here. We have these huge stores of areas in our lungs that can be utilized to cleanse the body, including fat. So, and when you breathe deeply and you make it a habit, you lengthen your spine, your digestion improves, your posture is better, your blood pressure goes down, your pain, it decreases pain in the body. I mean, there's just and it's built in.
Yeah, it's a mechanism. You just have to activate yourself.
Exactly. That's why I called it Spiro, because I really want to promote stretching with conscious breathing. The two go hand in hand. You can't do your stretching and hold your breath.
Yeah.
And you can't just do, so it's a system.
Yeah, it's getting your body to work together in the way that it should have done all along. And it's also one of those things where people make the excuse, I'm not flexible. It's like, well, it's that bridge, it's that bridge to get you to the point where you're able to do those stretches, maybe even without the Spiro. But it's like it's so much harder to start somewhere and you kind of get discouraged, right? If you can't do a certain stretch or you can't lift a certain weight, you get discouraged and you want to put it away. This is kind of like a confidence booster to get you in that habit of being healthy, the breathing, just all together promoting a healthier lifestyle.
I love that. Self-care, right?
That's right, self-care.
And if you can touch your knees, you can use Spiro. If you can touch your knee, because here you go.
I was about to say, let's measure it. Yeah, that's true.
If you can touch your knee, you can Spiro stretch. This is that's it. So I like to say it puts your own well-being in your own hands. And of course, you don't need a Spiro. You can do this with a towel or a strap, but it just Spiro makes the stretch. It's a much more satisfying stretch. The resistance. When you do a stretch with resistance, you increase your flexibility and your strength at the same time. One side is strengthening, the other side is resisting, and that's how the flexibility increases. So you want to move slowly, breathe consciously, and only do what feels good. You mentioned overstretching. You can absolutely overstretch. You can irritate a nerve with that, and you don't want to do that. I find that people that are like, they're like they're like that in most of the areas of their life. They just go full steam. You really want to just calm down, breathe, start moving your body just because you want to maintain that. I mean, when we think about getting older, everyone automatically they see themselves hunched over with a cane, perhaps a wheelchair, or just losing their mobility. That's kind of like this gray spot. Everybody assumes, when you think about getting older, what do you think?
Yeah, you lose mobility, right.
Right. And you can protect your mobility by using it. That old adage, you don't use it, you lose it, it's true. Because when we don't stretch our muscles, they do become, they lose their elasticity because there's not enough circulation and nutrients and water getting into these muscles. But that doesn't have to happen. We see people that are living living a long time. They've got good posture and they're mobile. And that's because they kept moving their body. They probably walk every day. They probably do a little stretching every day. So I don't buy into the story that I'm going to eventually lose my mobility. Now, knock on wood, I can't control everything, but I'm doing everything I can in the preventative sense. All the things that we can do that are easy. I mean, I don't spend hours a day working out. I rebound for 30 minutes a day and I stretch. That's all I do. And I walk. I have a bunch of walking friends.
There you go.
But yeah, I keep it simple. Keep it simple. This is a really easy DIY. And like another physical therapy, we haven't talked about physical therapy. Mm-hmm. People, if you look at your physical therapy sheet of stretches to do, it's usually a towel or a strap. I have so many people say, this has been so great for my physical therapy exercises that I was prescribed. It just makes it easier. So yeah, that's just another way that we can take better care of ourselves. And because you only need 5 minutes, we have to ask ourselves, we have 5 minutes for ourselves and we feel so much better. So, I don't know what's stopping people from doing. A lot of people are doing it. So,
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting everybody to do it, getting that widespread acceptance.
Yes, I want to normalize the habit of stretching.
Yeah, and I think you're well on the way of doing that with each and every day and each and every Spiro that you sell.
Yes.
So as we kind of start to wrap up the show, we have a set list of questions we like to ask every guest. The first one is, what is something you did as a kid that you wish you could still do today?
Besides, being completely carefree, not having to worry about anything, just play all the time.
Right.
I guess I would say riding my bike everywhere into my friend's house. We used to just get on our bikes and not come home until the sun went down. Just rode our bikes to the store to get
Oh, it was great.
snacks. Yeah.
It was phenomenal. You
Right.
ride your bike and you buy whatever you want from the gas station or whatnot, and you just keep on going about your day.
And that's improving in Baton Rouge, thanks to CPEX.
Yeah,
And
getting there.
Right. We're getting more and more green.
Right.
Smart streets.
Smart streets, that's right. So long as we can, do it on days where it's not 95 or 100 degrees
Correct.
outside. We don't want people having heat exhaustion or whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So you've got multiple businesses here. You've got a lot that's going on. You're still growing something and kind of trying to get it mainstream.
Yes.
So within that process, you probably learned a lot of lessons. So what are 3 lessons you've learned along the way?
The 3 lessons I've learned are to not be afraid, to just take one step at a time, just kind of step over that invisible thought of fear and to take one step at a time. Also that our happiness and our health is an inside job and a responsibility and a duty that we all have. Philosophically, we are to be taking care of ourselves. So that. And then lastly, that our breath is our superpower. And to learn to utilize it will provide gifts for your entire life. Learn how to breathe properly and make it a habit. 5 minutes a day to start, and then just as much as you can. I used to have a reminder on, an app on the App Store called Remember to Breathe. And it was in 2011.
Yeah.
It was just this little app that would send a ding to your phone. Now it's built in, but
Yeah, now the Apple Watch
correct.
does that for folks. Remember to breathe today.
Exactly. Well, and just I like to do it at the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the hour, stop and either stretch a little bit or definitely start taking some deep breaths. Empty your lungs, fill them, just breathe.
Yeah, I like that.
So those are my 3.
So what is something you love about Baton Rouge?
I love a lot about Baton Rouge. I love how helpful the Baton Rouge community is. They want to help everyone. Varsity sports helped me. Athleta helped me. Grace helped me. Apple Guerin helped me. The folks, I had so many people help me along the process with nothing, expecting nothing in return, just because they wanted to. And so Baton Rouge wants to see you succeed, and they like to help people. They like new businesses, and so yeah, they're just very helpful.
They are, and I mean they're willing to give anybody a chance
Right.
and do what they can to kind of help make a difference here and there. So
Exactly.
I see it every day. Absolutely.
Yes.
So for the final question, what can I do to help you?
I'm going to be like, keep doing what you're doing. And if you know of any person or work site or athletic team that needs to stretch and manage stress, please send them my way.
You got it. So what is what's an easy way for people to get a hold of you?
Spirostretch.com, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook at spirostretch.com. Just at Spirostretch. So yeah, and just reach out to me. I come do for example, if a work site buys a box for their employees, I'll come teach a free class on how to use it. I love to speak to groups. I do lots of addresses to crowds about stress management. So any opportunity that people have, they want me to come speak about stress and how to combat it easily, I love to do that.
You got it. Well, we're going to make sure that we link up your website, your Instagram, and all that stuff, and all the show notes, as well as all the social postings to make sure everybody gets it. So.
Okay. And so anyone watching the show that goes to the website and uses the code Spiro Patty G.
Ooh, we've got our own code, y'all. We've moved up.
Spiro Patty G, no space. PATTYG. We'll get $10 off their Spiro.
There you go. Look, guys, I'm here saving you money. $10 off your order. Spiro Patty G. Can we put that in the show notes as well?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to put it in the show notes. Spiro Patty G. Get $10 off a Spiro, off your order. And yeah, so that's perfect. How can you help? Do that. Help them get on to that next level, and just, you got to stretch, people. You got to breathe. You got to take care of yourselves. If you want to keep on, whether it's watching the show or keep on living your life the way you have it, you have to make sure you take care of your physical and your mental health. And this is a tool that can help you do that. So thank you so very much, Elena, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Patty G.
I appreciate you helping me stretch beforehand, getting some stuff loose and educating me on how to use it properly. Now I can go home and use the one I've got to do some stretching, help my wife stretching as well throughout her pregnancy. So thank you very much for that.
I'm glad that you said that, because I wanted to really push that point that it saves you time and money. You do it, you don't have to spend time in the doctor's office or at the physical therapist. And but yes, good luck with the next baby.
Thank you so much. And thank y'all, everybody else, for watching or listening, whatever platform you're consuming us on. We want to give a big, wonderful thank you to the amazing sponsors that make the show possible. If you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed to the show, you're following the show, and you're helping us get these amazing entrepreneurs and business owners out there. You're really being a vessel in which we're able to showcase these amazing people and what they have to offer here in Louisiana and Baton Rouge specifically. And also thank you to the amazing sponsors that allow us to do this every week. If you've used them, if you're about to use them, you're on the fence about using them, make sure to tell them that the Patty G Show sent you, and hear a little bit more about all of them right now.
Welcome to the brand new Falaya mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falaya mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falaya in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falaya, it's real estate reimagined.
Thank you so very much to Building 5 for becoming the latest sponsor of the Patty G Show. We are going to be filming once a month at Building 5. We're going to post about it on our social so you can come and visit with us. Building 5 is an excellent food establishment if you're into sharing boards and really getting a creative menu. Misty and Brumby have done an excellent job of creating an environment that's warm, welcoming, and inviting for every single occasion. Go on over to Building 5 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and tell them that the Patty G Show sent you.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left, but the time is now. Time to make progress and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
Thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge for making this show possible. Nick Pentis is a past guest. We love having him on. Listening to him talk about the culture they have over at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge is really an incredible thing to hear. How they treat not only their employees, but every customer that walks through the door. You are more than just a number to them. They're going to give you that white glove concierge service every step of the way. They're going to make you feel like family and take what can be a stressful time in people's life, shopping for a car. They're going to make it so enjoyable and so pleasurable. You're going to want to go back there time and time again for every new vehicle. Thank you so very much for Mercedes-Benz of making this show possible. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you. McLavy's Limited, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show, has been serving the Baton Rouge area proudly for 40 plus years. Gentlemen and ladies, if you're shopping for your man, there is no other place in the Baton Rouge area to get your clothing, whether it's game day needs, everyday needs, business attire, formal attire, whatever you want. Go over there, see Frank and Ashley. It's a father-daughter duo. They do incredible things in their store. They will outfit you from as simply a shirt that you need for one evening or all the way to a full wardrobe overhaul. They're going to take care of you every step of the way, and be sure and let them know that Patty G Show sent you.
Simple man, don't want a complication. Complication.